Rich here, and I'm live on part 3 of my WPLC34 KM crawler build. Tonight we're going to be assembling the suspension, got all the parts laid out on here. We're going to be in the chassis and the gearbox down here. The motor, I just thought I'd show you this. If anybody can hear that. Oh, it says, sorry. It's actually got a gearbox built in the end of the can here. But if I go too much further on this, I'm going to have to decide on setting up my ESC because I need to solder the two motor leads onto the end of there. So we'll see how far we get tonight, but I'm fairly confident we should do okay, as I have actually laid everything out in order. Now, suspension. Suspension itself is made up of, of the shock absorbers. You drop one of these through, it comes out there. The spring is going to go in there. Tie rod end is going to screw on there, and one of these little clips, when I put the spring back in that I've just dropped on the floor, is going to clip over the top there to hold it in place. And the great thing being about these is they've got a cross-headed screwdriver, crosshead on the top of them, meaning when I put them in, just, well, fingers crossed, get the thread to catch on there. And I'm trying to get the sound a bit better tonight, guys, standing a little bit closer to the microphone, and simply hold the thing and tighten it up like that. A little bit more to go. Overall, I have to say, the kit, the quality, fingers crossed, provided nothing snaps on camera in comedy style, Rich, seems to be pretty darn good, I have to say. Okay, reasonably tight on there. So, put our spring in the top there. Now this should, he says, I'm going to get it right. It's going to fight me. Go on there, and now we've got our sprung shock absorber on there. Just checking that's going nowhere. 3 more of those to do, and that's suspension sorted. Okay, now there is a kind of, if anybody buys one of these kits, it is shorter at one end than it is at the other end, so you want the short end towards the top. Drop that through. I was sorry about the sound the other night, guys. When I was playing it back, it wasn't quite. I've swapped the camera around, so hopefully the sound will be a little bit better tonight. I don't want to shout because in a minute I can't see anybody's comments on here, guys, because I've got no computer or iPad on here, as Isabella has thoughtfully borrowed that again for the second night in a row. Again, hold the end of the track rod on there. Tighten it up, simple as that, but it comes together pretty, fingers crossed, it's coming together pretty well. I'm liking the look of the thing overall. I say a big decision tonight to make on getting the motor, the ESC sorted out on there. Spring in the top there, it's all fairly rudimentary, but it is only a crawler after all. Ooh. Stepped on there nice and easy. Second one done. 2 more to do, then we're in business. I want to say it's fairly well built so far. I've not had to kind of fight against any of the parts, and he says as if on cue that wants to fight me. Okay, a bit of pressure on that. Sorry, trying to keep that sanity. It's very, very tricky, guys. Anyone that's done this, I say, Tony from CCXLC has the camera above his worktop, and I don't know how he does that. I must ask Tony how he does that, because that looks really good, and it would definitely help on something like this. spring in there. Third one ready to go. And next up is the chassis. I'm actually going to do the same as I did just then. It's by far the easier way to do it, Rich. Just hold it on the screwdriver there. I appreciate, guys, this is not earth-shatteringly like action-packed or anything, but I thought as I was building it up, it's the kind of thing that I thought might come up okay live along the way. Next one, that shock absorbers on there, and there we are. My 4 suspension arms done. Set those to the side, and now move on to the gearbox. It says gearbox is the easiest part. Obviously written by somebody with a sense of humour on there, because knowing that somebody said that, that's probably going to be the most tricky thing there, guys. And I'm going to have a drink for a second because it is like about 85 degrees in there. Okay, gearbox. Now, the one downside I would say to these, so I'm just looking at it, guys, I want to make sure I get this right. No, that side. Yeah. Is the screws. None of the screws whatsoever are marked on the thing, so I'm having a bit of a nightmare of a job, but I can line the screws up fairly easily on the thing. Actually sizing the right screws to the holes is a completely different matter. And I very, very carefully laid everything out on here. The joys of live YouTube here, guys. That's definitely not going to fit. Also, in one of the diagrams it shows 7 of these M3 screws with nuts being attached to them, and there are not 7 M3 screws in this pack. Now guys, sorry, I'm going to have to... Oh, come on, Rich. So, first time we've built one of these things, so... So I know somebody said about putting a magnet on the screwdriver overnight, and I'm definitely thinking I should have followed your advice and done that. It's like one of these things, guys, when you're doing this sort of stuff, you could do with like about 7 pairs of eyes, because you're trying not to get your hands in the way of the camera. And at the same time, you don't want to drop anything out of them. My garage floor is not particularly that neat, because I do vacuum it like once a week and then pick up the 1,000,001 body clips and things that get picked up from there. But it does say, gearbox, easiest part. There are some very funny instructions, obviously written by somebody in China on it, but it is quite humorous, some of the captions on it. I would zoom in and show you, but the print is absolutely minuscule. Okay, outside the gearbox on there. Now, I've got, also it comes with little bearings on there, guys. One bearing over that screw. Again, we're talking about talk English, Rich. Okay, and making sure that goes on the right way. Ooh, needs a little grub screw or something to go in there. I had not spotted that. Nor does it show that on the instructions. Ah, good job over every tool known to man here, guys. Oops. Oh, come on. Keep it your friend Rich. Okay. Now I see what the flat spot's for there. Okay, guys. So push that through. Seems an awfully big grub screw to my mind, but fingers crossed it does the job. I'm going to over tighten it. It's not going anywhere in a hurry. Okay, that's that one in. Okay, guys, the other one also needs one in. I've noticed on it. I'm not going to bother putting thread lock on these tonight. It's not as though this thing is going to be going at like 30 miles an hour on there or anything like that. What I have spotted though, there is obviously something else that goes onto the motor there, so that was obviously need the grub screw to connect it to the motor. So just slide that in loosely for the minute. What says the easiest part? You just know it's going to go badly wrong when it says that. Okay, now, ooh. Man, whoever did that, I like had a sense of humour, didn't they, really? Like, how on earth are you going to get that grub screw tightened? You can't tighten it before you put the motor on. And that's going to be, if anybody can see the tolerance on there. See, the problem is the grub screw's there, but when it's sitting down flush, it's level with the top on there. Gut feel is, Rich, get the Dremel, cut a section out of the side here, in order that you can fit the thing, because otherwise the first thing on the kit there that I found, that's not going to work there. That is definitely not going to work. Okay, so what I'm going to do very quickly is with the Dremel, cut a small section out the side. As I say, guys, I do this stuff so you don't have to. Quite possibly the most useful RC tool I've ever bought. I've now cut a little notch through the side there. I know people might be horrified on that, but without this, I'm not being able to finish the live build on the thing. The reason why I've done that, guys, is now, when I put that over with a flat spot turned that way, I can put my hex driver through and tighten that screw. Because without being able to do that, you could come in maybe from this side, but it's still a very, very tight angle on there. It's not as though it's going to be worrying about going too much water through it. Okay, so Richie boy, we've got bearing, we put the bearing on that end. There. One more bearing over that. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep this as central as I can while looking at the instructions. Now, the third bearing, I was wondering where the Jafran language, how that went. That would be going on there. On there, okay. Instructions on there, and it's getting seriously warm in this garage again tonight, guys. Okay, that goes on there. Push down in there. So we now got our gearbox coming together. That cover, looking at the diagram there, those two lugs need to be on the bottom to marry it up, obviously, with the ones on the other side here, Richie boy. Okay, 2 screws through there, and we are done, I believe. Now, screw choice, guys. This is where it gets interesting, which screws to use on there. So only downside on this kit, I would say, is the screw choice. Is that none of the screws are numbered, meaning life is extremely interesting when fitting the thing together. But these look a reasonably good fit. Anyway, guys, what's everybody been up to today? And I see something like Denver or something. I said like 2 feet of snow on the first day of summer. Believe me, it's getting. They can have that. My heat. It's getting seriously warm in here this evening. It's the humidity, guys. Here, we've been surrounded like on 3 sides by water. I think those were the right screws there, Richie boy. So there we have our gearbox, our motor and gearbox assembly on there, coming together. As I was saying, quite impressed with the build quality of it. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to go and grab my chassis rails from the other side here. Okay. It is quite nerve-wracking, as I say, doing this stuff live, because you have no idea really if any of this stuff is, when you particularly build it first time, is it going to fit together or is it not? Are you going to get a wrong screw size? The screws is the only downside, guys. Okay, now also on it, it shows like 4 screws going through with bolts and the M3 bolts on there. There aren't any screws that match up with the M3 bolts for those 7 on there, and in the diagram below it shows nothing fitting to those bolts. Anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, and the back, basically you've got this little spacer here which is going to sit between the 2 rails, space it out, and you've got a similar thing at the front on there. So this is where I'm going to have to endeavour to keep my hands out of the way, and I've not got a clue if the thing is on that way round or I'm going to go on that way round. I'm assuming that way round on here. It's going to be a little fighter on there. Keep it child friendly, Rich, even when you don't necessarily want to. It would be a lot easier to put this together, guys, if I wasn't necessarily filming the thing. Like balance and ingenuity becoming your new friends when doing this sort of stuff, like that. Coming together, Rich. Those 7 bolt screw things I mentioned earlier will probably become absolutely vital at some point, just when I put the whole thing back together. But we shall see. The one thing I would say on this, while the screws aren't numbered in any way whatsoever, they don't appear to be like cheap screws. He says, fingers crossed so far, like none of the heads on them are going, or they're not threading themselves, anything like that, which is always a good sign. Okay. Now I am going to put the other side on there, because it just shows like all-in-one assembly on the diagram there, so it's not entirely super clear on there. That said, that shock has got to pop through there. And I'm obviously going to need to put a screw on the inside of there to hold that in place. And it does not show me the correct screw, or appears to show me the correct screw whatsoever on there. Like I say guys, I do this stuff so you don't have to. But screws aside, it's not bad. It's pretty well built, I have to say. So it's obviously going to be vital you fit each of the two shocks to each side of the car before putting the two chassis rails together, because obviously with that chassis rail in place there, I'll be trying to force the, well, you know what I mean, the other chassis rail would be completely in the way. Okay, so the front shock going on. One only assumes. Yeah, it goes on through that. As I say, these diagrams, it's like if you were getting a European or American manual on this thing, these would be like a page per thing, whereas this thing is not much bigger than 2 sheets of A4 for the whole thing. I'm definitely putting a magnet on this screwdriver tonight, because that would make life so much easier. So guys, apologies I can't see anyone's comments out there. Hopefully people are kind of finding this stuff a little bit interesting. Okay, now I'm going to do the same, exactly the same with the other side on there. Turn it around so I put them in exactly the same place. Child-friendly language just about to be used. Child-unfriendly language rather, just about to be used. Oh come, oh you. As I say, anyone who thinks going live with this stuff is easy, think again guys. I would have to, try for the 3rd time. Try for the 4th time. On the plus side, well, it's going to take me about 10 minutes to find those 3 screws on the floor. I have a whole tub of them here, which are exactly the same size on there. See, no child unfriendly language used in the making of this video. Well, not so far anyway, guys. Hopefully this one goes better than the other one did. Child-unfriendly language, child-unfriendly language. Gonna fight hard on these ones, guys. Again, you really want us to drop on the down floor, Richie boy, down floor. I should do like Richie's after hours X-rated videos, because this has gone pretty good up until now. Said my next screwdriver would help out dramatically on this. Okay, both of my chassis rails done with the shocks on the outside. So now I'm going to fasten that rear with the 2 screws in there. just when you think it's going all right, and then they just decide to fight you. Because the more weight is getting in the chassis, the harder this job is becoming. Warning, should be a little easier. Heat build up in this garage tonight is getting ridiculous. I've got a Mercedes AMG behind me which sits for about half an hour after I bring it in with the oil cooler running. So like the hotter the weather it is outside, the longer the thing runs for, and it just dissipates so much heat out into the garage. And the thing being, if I have the garage door open, the noise from all the cars driving past, I mean, I don't live in that busy area, but a lot of the noise just interferes with the filming, and I don't realise until I finish the filming and then just find the things are unwatchable because of the sound from all the cars. Sorry for my endless ramblings there, guys. So it is coming together. I'll just be back in a sec when I try and find those 3 screws. Ooh, ow. I've got 2 out of 3 back, so that's not too much of an issue. Okay, so next steps. Looks like we're going to drop the motor down into the middle of the chassis. Got to be those 2 holes, there's nothing else lines up on that. Okay, so guys, coming together there. So 4 screws to either side, hold the motor in place. Ooh, even 6 screws rather, so not going anywhere in a hurry. Overall, sometimes on these sort of like things from China on there, like the screws can be really cheap and shred themselves, or the screwdriver's not very good on there. But this, I have to say, I am quite, fingers crossed so far, impressed with. I mean, like normally, as I say, that something will shred itself or something, but it's like it's been well thought out. But each of the WPL cars that I've had has been better than the last one. And this is the first crawler one I've had from WPL. But I think it should be quite a cracking little kit by the time it's done. I'm quite impressed with the fact that this thing has got like a built-in gearbox attached to the motor in there, because that's where some of these like cheaper cars let themselves down, is on, they all look good and everything, and then the motor is just not up to the job on there. And while they're cheap, you could spend like as much upgrading the motor, etc. on there as you have done on the car. But overall, this thing's under $100. Link to it below the video. I have to say, it's quite impressing me so far. Children friendly language there, Rich. That's not too bad, as I say, guys. If I'd left this screwdriver with a magnet next to it overnight, this job would have been far easier on here. It really would. Come on. Rich, because that is the wrong screw. So some of them are virtually indistinct from the others. Yet they can be like a millimetre shorter or a millimetre thinner, and that is the difference between them not fitting and fitting on there. Okay, beginning to look more like a crawler on there, guys. Okay, I've got this compartment, which obviously fits something electrical in there on the way. So that is going to go in the back. These two lugs, it says. Going to marry up on there. Just checking that is the right way, and that is the right way indeed. Okay. Now, this is what I mean, guys, on the screw heads there. That's obviously one that sinks. Is that one that sinks down? No, no, I'm good, I'm good. Don't talk yourself into a problem there, Rich. It's very, very difficult to sorry guys, I'm just struggling slightly on here, not to use bad language, because once they bite, they're absolutely great. There we go. But it's that, just getting that initial bite on the plastic. Once it's bitten in, you're alright. While I'm struggling in places here, because I said magnetic screwdriver will just make this job like 10 times easier than what it is at the minute. I'm trying not to, wherever possible, get my hands in front of the camera. It's very, very tricky indeed. And at the same time, I'm trying to keep my voice like behind the camera so that the sound doesn't drift too far out. Getting seriously warm in here now, guys. Okay, I have no idea what bolts on the top of this, but in a second I think all should become apparent as that we've nearly got heading on for a rolling chassis. One more screw in here and that's nearly ready to go. Now I have got a wire, I've got a solder motor wires on here, but that's enough of a gap, certainly from this side, to get in there fairly easy, so I'm not going to worry too much about that tonight. But before starting it tomorrow, I'm probably going to wire that thing up off camera, if that makes sense there, guys. As well, this stuff, admittedly, is not exciting. Watching me solder on 2 solder connections is even going to be less so. Anybody see Kev Talbot's Outcast for us a video today on there? I'm a tough or what? Well, up to a point. Oh, just too funny, too funny. Okay, so we are coming together on there now. We just need, he says, and now it's probably going to be one of these things where I think, oh my god, I should have put those on beforehand, is there are little mounts that go on the front there that look as though that goes through there with a much longer screw at that front end. Sorry guys, there's the one thing I thought would cause me the problem on this was the screws. Certainly when trying to do it live. See, that one is longer, that's flopping round and everything. That's definitely not going to work. Okay, I might need to have a rethink off camera on that as to what screw goes on there. Next steps, guys. Oh, I've got a few more screws that came with it in that pack down here. So I'm wondering if one of those, when you see that, is too big. Oh, you little. Different screws, different packs. Okay guys, I'm not going to bore everybody stiff on that. That is it pretty much done for tonight. The next step which I'm going to do off camera is just fit these back on, which means taking those two screws back off. I need to find the right size screws for those. So that's going to go on over the top of there, and then that bumper is going to mount just below there. Anyway guys, it is gradually coming together, slowly but surely. As I said, next thing I'm going to do is actually tonight probably sort out the probably fit my ESC, wire that up to the motor on there, or maybe make myself some leads up to wire that up to that motor can on there, and we shall see how we get on. So I shall be back with it tomorrow guys. Anyway, I hope you found that of interest. It's come together slowly but surely. Anyway guys, hope you like that. Thanks for watching. I'm going to call it a night before I simply die in this heat.